everybody, how's it going? If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be checking out the Redragon Arrow Pro headset. We're going to be checking out how much it weighs, how it sounds, how the mic is going to operate and sound, and everything that comes in the package for this. So full unboxing, full everything, and testing. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into it. Alright, and here we go. The Redragon Arrow Pro, or H858 Arrow Pro Carbon for its full legal name. This can be used on just about everything. We got a little bit of the specs here on the side. You got the weight, length, and everything that it comes with. Which we'll double check that weight. It says 305 plus or 10. You know, we'll see. We'll see what it comes out to be when we do the weight test. Does the 3.5. It does have USB, wireless, Bluetooth, super comfy, cushy over-the-ear cups, which are honestly pretty nice. They are really soft. And one of my favorite things is the detachable microphone, whether if you want to use it or not. We have some more dimensions and specs here onto the side as far as the ohms that it needs, the frequency response rate, which we'll get into that here in just a moment. But you got the barcode if you want to scan that, but let's go ahead and get this box open. But wait, there's more. As we like to do, let's go ahead and get into the tech specs here. We're going to go over everything that this headset can do. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the 3 modes that it has, which is the USB-C wired mode. We have the Bluetooth and the 2.4 wireless, which does have a wireless USB dongle. It is good for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, mobile. Now, it all depends on how that's going to be. Some of those are wired. Some of those the USB wireless can work with. You just have to look and see which one works for you. But it does work in some form or fashion. We do have the 7.1 surround sound, virtual with that. And we do have the 53mm audio drivers, detachable microphone. And it does work wirelessly up to 49 feet away. Now, that is going to be with no obstructions whatsoever. So if you do have a giant room, you can use that. But once you start introducing walls, it's going to take a hit to that. Weight, as I said, is going to be 300-ish kilograms. Battery capacity is going to be 750 milliamp hours. The headset sensitivity for the maximum is going to be 115 plus or minus 3 dB. Charge time is going to be about 3 hours, and your average use is going to be above 20. They say max 22 hours. So, not too crazy with all that being said, and the specs are not too bad. Now, the battery life is a little bit of a hit to me. I'd love to see some longer battery lives, but if that's not an issue for you, just drop it on the charger when you're done. It takes about 3 hours for that to be done, so not too bad. But hey, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and go ahead and make sure that you're being a part of everything that you need to do, because we do have, obviously, some more stuff coming your way. But let's go ahead and head on back to the unboxing. All right, let's go ahead and get this top fully off here, and let's get this thing popped open. Now, one thing I didn't mention of the tech specs here is the headset is generally MSRP $50. You can catch this thing on sale for as low as $30. So for all the features and everything, for $30, if you can get it down that far, or sub 50, it's really not that bad. The headphones, super comfy. Definitely need to be looking forward to that. Depending on if you have headphones that clamp too hard. Look, we got some extra goodies that we're trying to hide. But if you have anything that issues the other ones, these things should solve that problem. Love the packing that they have here. They did have this little box right on top, slid right out. So we're going to go ahead and check out the accessory box first. And this is where you're going to find your microphone, which doesn't fit in the bag, but, you know, ingenuity, they use the bag that they had. And then we do get a bit of a monster amount of cables here. Now, inside of this bundle of cables has everything that you'll possibly need. You have that 3.5 mil to USB-C, which can work with a lot of things. So, nice little gold plating on that 3.5 mil, whether if it's better or not with that. Always love to see it. And then we do have our USB-A to USB-C charging cable here. Just your standard run-of-the-mill. It's got a good length on it, though. They always do a really nice job. Good length, nice braided cable. Won't really get tangled up as much. Always love to see that. And then the microphone that's hanging out the bag does look pretty good. Nice little gold plating as well. And it's pretty easy to move and bend. It's nothing too crazy when it comes to that. Some mics are stiffer than others, but this one's really not that bad. And then here's that little microphone area, little 5 dots where you'll be talking into. So make sure when you put this on that it's facing the right direction, because there is only one right way. And if you don't, it might be hard for people to hear you. All right, and then of course right here in the middle, we do have our USB dongle. It's USB-A. And then you just plug that into whatever supported system, whether that's going to be your PlayStation or your PC, laptop. Didn't try this on mobile if you have a USB-C adapter, but it may or may not work. Mileage may vary on that one. But before we get the headphones out, let's go ahead and get into the goodie bag here. We do have the one and only Redragon stickers that you guys know and love. Always need some more of those replacements. And then we do have the lovely manual. Got a QR code on the front if you guys want to be able to get a digital version. We're going to go ahead and start off here showing what comes in the packaging, which shows the cables, the dongle, and the headset. And one thing that I don't like, if you guys have been here part of the channel long enough, I hate unfolding these manuals. They're just not my favorite, but that's okay. We do get to see everything that's on here, what all the indicators, what all the buttons do, how to put everything together, how to charge it, what the device name is going to be looking at in Bluetooth mode. And we do have all the possible switches and what everything's going to do, because everything's on one earpiece, so you do have to kind of keep track of all the buttons on one side. Now, if you need any of these specific pages, just pause the video on them, but this kind of roughly goes through everything as far as if you need it, the information, and documenting it for future use if you need to come back for it. But it shows you what each of the things do. Press, hold, double tap. These buttons are multifunctional, so keep that in mind. And it's per system and per how they're being used. Right here on the end, we have the store, the remarks, the FCC statement, battery safety guidelines, all the legal things they had to put on there. But manual's not too bad. It's not huge, but it's not my favorite. I'm not a fan of the fold-outs. At least make it a little book. These pages probably could have been book pages, but that's just me. But let's get this guy out of here. Let's go ahead and check out the headset. Of course, we got this little tie here that fell off to the side, but the headphones, honestly, I love the look. Nice, sleek, nice black to it. Has a nice fabric on the ear cups. Nice Redragon, big. It's not flashy. There's no RGB here. And again, all the buttons are going to be here on the side. You got your power. You've got your modes, your mute, volume up, volume down. Change it into the different modes, 7.1, charging port. And we got the mic port right there on the front, which we'll flip it over here and see here in just a minute. But everything's pretty much all on one side. Everything looks good. The build quality is amazing. It's really lightweight compared to a lot of the headsets we see. But that's where you're going to be plugging in the microphone, which it does have a notch to it, so you do have to be careful. It might feel like it's all the way in, but if you don't have that lined up all the way, it does not go in. Now, one thing I do like about this design is everything's pretty much enclosed. There's nothing really sticking out. Ear cups look good. They look solid. They are nice and plushy and very breathable, but I love how the wires are on top, sticking out. They don't have too much give, but they have just enough to where, depending on the shape of your head, it can fit. It's just not a lot of movement. It's a little short. I've seen some of the other headsets we've seen on the channel already that they do have a little bit more movement, but overall, not too bad. Now, we do have this nice design right here on the outside. It's almost like an open back pair of headphones. And then we do have that little grill on the bottom on each side, which does help with airflow for the speakers inside of it as well. We'll go ahead and get this microphone put into it. Again, do be careful. There is the notch, so you got to make sure that you get that in properly, and then you'll be fine. Like I said, the mic is easily movable. It's not too stiff. And my favorite part, again, I think any gaming headset needs to have a detachable microphone just in case, or at least be able to flip it all the way vertical. But detachable is my preferred preference, and it's got some good stretch to it. So, but with that out of the way, we've got everything unboxed. We've seen everything with the headset, every button that it has. We're going to go into some testing. So this one, we're going to go first into the ears. We have a apparatus that we use to do the testing for the frequency response rate of the headphones. We're going to check out the speakers, and we're going to have a graph here in just a moment showing you exactly how the frequency response rate show, because it says 20 to 20,000, which is standard, but 20 to 20,000 can be produced. How well, on the other hand, that's the key, and we're going to test that here right now. All right, now that we got done listening to the comparison, let's look at the comparison. We're going to have graphs show up on screen over my face. I'll continue to talk, but we're going to take a look at these. So the DT990s, this one here in the green is, you can see the low end, and it comes straight up, has a super solid mids, goes a little bit higher in the highs. Then we have a jolt at about 7,000, and then it continues to peak off, but I can't measure anything past 20 to 20,000, so it just kind of goes. Now, if we look over here at the Redragon Arrows, this is where we get interesting. These arrows are relatively cheap, and price comparison between them is like 5 or 6 times more for the DT990s. But with the arrows, we can see that it starts kind of low, but not as low of an arch as the DT990s. And it honestly stays really flat. Has that little bump on the low end, give you a little bit more extra bump on the base. But then it stays incredibly flat all the way through the mids with a little bit of a dip about 700. And then it kind of trails down a little bit, but then it stays relatively even. It dips down just a little bit and comes back up to the highs. But it's not super jolty, super up, super down. It's kind of just gentle curves and little waves all the way through, which personally, comparatively for the price, I don't think you could really go wrong with this. I mean, you're going to have a little bit bumpy on the bass, which is okay, but not too bumpy. And then you're going to have super clear mids, super clear highs. Nothing's going to be peaking over each other really too much. It's going to be very flat, which in some cases is really good. Some people may want really high highs or really bassy like beats. But in general, if you're going to be gaming or anything else, flat is good because nothing is overtaking anything. So everything is going to be super clear with these headphones. So seeing this, if Redragon could just add a little bit to the battery, instead of it being 20-ish hours, they could double that, make it 40 or 50. I know there are some companies out there that have 100 hours, but More battery with this kind of microphone, this kind of audio coming through the speakers would be incredible to see, to have an extendedly long battery life. Okay, and with that out of the way, we now know exactly how it sounds, how it performs, which is not too bad. It definitely has a pretty solid quality when it comes to the rating for the frequency response rates, and it sounds pretty good as far as what it can produce. Now, could that be better for some people or not? That's up to you. Now, this all depends on how you're listening to this. If you're using headphones or if you're listening to this with your phone or your computer speakers, that may vary. But if you know how things generally sound with your headphones, that's how it's generally going to sound with what we were able to reproduce. But we're going to go ahead and check out the mic test next. We're going to see just how that nice little microphone is going to sound. All right, so we're going to do some testing here. We've got the Mayano here is our baseline that you've been hearing this entire time. So we're going to switch over to the Arrow here, and we're going to check out how the microphone sounds and get a kind of baseline on what we're looking to be working with here. All right, and here is the Arrow, which I'm just as surprised as you are. It's not really that bad sounding. It does lose a little bit out, but I mean, it's honestly not too bad. Now, I am curious. Let's add Still Series to it. Let's bring some of that low fidelity back, and let's see how well it sounds. All right, and this was the Still Series, which honestly shocked me. This sounds pretty good. Most of these mics, not super great, which I alluded to kind of at the beginning, like, it could not be good, but this is honestly pretty comparable. It's not as just like ooh in your ears that the big microphone gives you, but if this was your only thing that you could use, this is really not that bad. So even though the battery life's not the best, the microphone sounds great. Now, this could be a little different with the wired version, and we're not going to go into super amounts of testing with all the different variants and different consoles and things like that, but just as a general wireless, you can expect either the same or slightly better if you do wired. So this is honestly pretty good. Kind of gets a super win in my book for it, so definitely something to keep in mind when thinking about purchasing this headset. Okay, so the microphone is pretty decent, but it is still a headphone microphone. There's only so good that those things can be, especially in the wireless game. Wireless just does not produce as well as a wired variant, but it is convenient. So that may change, but at the same time, you just kind of keep that in mind. There's only so good wireless headphones and microphones for them can be. But next, we're going to go ahead and check out the weight here. So let's go ahead and see how much it weighs. And here we're seeing 306.5 with the microphone. This is about on par. They did say it was going to be plus or minus with the weight. So about 3 to 315 is about where I'm going to say that should be for your headphones, give or take manufacturing processes and differences. But we're going to check out the sound meter next to see how all the buttons sound. We're going to have all the clicks, all the things, and how that may sound in your ear. So let's check it out. So it looks like, depending on which button, you're chilling around 50 decibels in close proximity. Some of these may be less, some of these may be more, but generally 50-ish. Now, some of them do go as low as 40, but that's not too bad. With the ear cups themselves going up into the 60s, if you adjust it on your head, it will make an audible click. You will hear it if you have your mic on. People are probably going to hear that too, but that's okay. So don't just make sure you adjust it to your head. You'll be fine. Now, if you share that with someone, that may be a little bit of fun, but just make sure that you always have that mute button that you can tap to make sure that that doesn't happen. But guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being here. This has been the Redragon Arrow Pros. They've been honestly fantastic. I think the only thing that I can say negatively, wholeheartedly, is 20 hours of battery life wirelessly. Not my favorite. I would like to see 40, 50, 60 hours. The headphones you guys see me wear here, that are 100 hours, charge them like once a month. I think if the battery technology could increase, even if the weight is higher, I think that's totally fine. But really adding in that extra battery life into the once-a-week charge range would be amazing. But lightweight with these arrows does come at a cost for that battery life because batteries are heavy. So just keep that in mind. Do keep out for some sales. These are $50, as I mentioned previously, MSRP. So if you want to make sure you catch it on sale, check Amazon, check the website. If you have an order from their website, the moment you go to it, there's like a 10% or a $10 off if you just give them your email, which you'll probably want that so you know when sales go on anyways. But just go ahead. Links will be down in the description below. Click those. If you buy from there, it does help support the channel. Do appreciate it. And again, make sure you're subscribing, liking the video so you guys can stick around for more that we have coming. We do have the new 2.0 of the Zeus coming, and so they've done some upgrades. I'm going to spoil it a little bit. Detachable microphone this time around. Love that. But stay tuned for that. It'll be coming your way very soon. So make sure to, again, subscribe, like, and be on your way to join the community and making this journey happen. So thank you so much for being here, making it to this point. And until next time, I'll see you soon.